Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, depending on whichever part of the world you are tuning in from. Well, it's very sunny out here, and in fact, it's been a wonderful morning after a very heavy downpour through the course of the night. So I'm very excited to welcome you all to yet another promising edition on the Forex Morning Mastery. My own name is Sheriff Daramola, and for the next 40 minutes, why do I keep saying 1 hour? For the next 40 minutes, I will be your host, as I will be taking you on a trading journey where we shall be dissecting the current market conditions using simple and of course fundamental tools such as trend lines, key levels, and of course chart patterns to gain valuable insight into the assets on our watch list so far this week. Well, so far this week we have been monitoring three major assets, which includes the GBPUSD, the XAUUSD, and of course the USOILSPOT, all of which have been doing very well in the last 48 hours now, though we had some of these assets which really did not start the week on a very positive note, but thank goodness we are able to be patient enough to stay through with our plans. So we are going to be looking at that in a moment. First of all, I would like to welcome those of us who are joining for the first time. I'm very excited to have you around with us. And you might be asking that, what is this all about? What is it that we really do here during the Forex Morning Mastery? Well, as technical traders, we usually gather here on a daily basis, 8:05 a.m. UTC, 9:05 a.m. West African time, where we come here to engage in follow-ups and reviews of our existing positions if we have any, and of course get ready for both the London and the New York session, looking out for trading opportunities using simple parameters to identify them. And the Forex Money Mastery is basically a follow-up detail to the videos I shared during the course of the weekend. So during the weekends like this, I usually share my plans ahead of the new week through video templates. And we come here during the Forex Money Mastery to do follow-up details on these assets. So we are here to equip our knowledge and skills necessary to make informed trading decisions. And in fact, I encourage you to stay tuned in so you don't miss out on the insight we will be deliberating on here. And of course, the more time you spend with us, the better you become in understanding and comprehending our analytical approach and utilizing the information you gather here to enhance your own trading decisions and strategies. So once again, I welcome you all on board. So with that being said here, we will be diving right into the business. And as usual, the first thing we normally do is to check on the economic calendar. Of course, we do want to keep tabs with the fundamental factors that will be affecting the market sentiment, which will of course reflect on the chart. And we all know how important this is, as these fundamental factors often manifest on the chart in technical patterns and price movement. By monitoring the economic calendar, we can easily identify potential correlations between key economic releases and specific technical patterns on the chart, hereby giving us the information needed to position ourselves in such a way that we can capitalize on any potential move prior, during, and even after this economic event. So right here on the economic calendar, we usually focus on high impact event from the economies that affects the assets on our watch list. Well, based on the asset we are looking at for this week, we are going to be focusing on the United States and the United Kingdom economic docket. Now, for Wednesday, November 8th, we have a series of high impact events we'll be looking forward to. So I had to include some medium impact events so that we can have a full idea of what will be driving the market sentiments today. Now, remember yesterday we were looking forward to some handful of speeches coming in from representative of the Federal Reserve, which actually came in with very mixed reaction as we saw this Federal Reserve representative talk about the potential for the Federal Reserve to reconsider its decision to do a rate cut by June 2024. And because of this has given the dollar a little bit of uplift in the last 24 hours, as you will see across the asset we've been monitoring since the beginning of this week. And because of this mixed reaction, we are really not sure of where the dollar is going to be going in the nearest future. And of course, we look forward to some other speeches, and most importantly, the first Chairman speech, which is coming up later today, for more clues and impetus into how we are going to be seeing the US dollar probably during the later part of this week. So the first high impact event we are looking forward to here is Governor Bailey's speech. That's the governor for the Bank of England is going to be giving a speech in about an hour from now. So everyone definitely will be looking forward to that one. And if you've been monitoring the GBPUSD lately, you will see how the market is really being on a very defensive mode right now, as majority are very cautious of placing any aggressive bet ahead of this event. So we are going to be looking at how the market is likely going to be reacting to whatever the Bank of England governor is going to be saying today. Then later today, we have a handful of speeches coming in from the United States. Look, for instance, in about 2 to 3 hours from now, we are looking forward to Lisa Cook speech. She is a member of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. And we also look forward to the Fed's chairman speech, which is the most important one everyone is looking forward to today. This one is coming up in about 6 hours from now. Then we look forward to John C. Williams, who is the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, is going to be giving a speech much more later in the day. And finally, we are looking forward to Philip N. Jefferson, who is also a member of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System, who is also going to be giving a speech later today. So today is more or less like speeches for today. And in fact, the importance of these speeches is that it gives us an insight into the monetary policy of these banks, that is of the Federal Reserve and the Bank of England. And it's also going to be giving us an insight into the central bank's outlook on the economy, potential policy shifts, and of course, potential interest rate changes or decisions as we prepare for the next monetary policy meeting coming up, I think, in the month of December. So this is definitely going to be impacting trading decisions and, of course, market sentiment. And as technical traders, we do know that the anticipation of this event also has a tendency of influencing the market sentiment, which will definitely reflect on the chart as price action. So talking about price action, let's dive right into the chart and let's look at what is really going on in the market right now. So from a technical standpoint, we are going to be starting with the USOILSPOT. I don't know why the USOILSPOT usually takes some time. So while the USOILSPOT chart is loading up, let's read through some comment sections here. So I can see your comment, Jonah Aruna. I can see your comment, Mansur Ul Hassan Bangesh. Good morning to you guys, and I'm very, very glad to have you around with us this morning. So here we have the USOILSPOT chart as loaded up right now, and as you will see, we have quite an interesting and beautiful position running on this asset right now, as we have been selling the USOILSPOT since the beginning of this week. Though we had a situation where we had buying opportunities, remember at the beginning of the week we bought, but along the line we saw sellers come in to give us a signal of joining a bearish momentum. Well, if we look at what is going on right now from a fundamental perspective, yesterday the American Petroleum Institute, popularly known as the API, revealed a significant buildup of nearly 12 million barrels in the US crude oil inventory for last week, which is a phenomenal figure and giving us an insight into the increased supply of this oil. And you know, when there is an increase in supply, then definitely the price will drop because of the surplus of this commodity in the global market. However, a couple of days we got to learn that the Saudis and the Russian government are planning to cut oil production by 1.2 million barrels per day till the end of the year, which is something that everyone expects will affect the supply of the oil commodity in the global market, which in the long run artificially will increase the demand for oil and skyrocket the price. So we are within a limbo right now where we saw a build-up in the US stockpile right now. And of course, we also have the other side of the OPEC Plus trying to cut oil production. So right now, let's look at the current market structure from a technical standpoint. And in fact, I would love us to look at how the week really started and what led to the decisions we made, especially for those of us who are not part of our earlier session. You have the privilege of being on the same page with us. So looking at the current structure on the 1 hour time frame. Now, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, the Forex Morning Mastery, we basically focus on the 1 hour time frame. So if you do want to have a background knowledge of how we got to the current structure you will be seeing on this 1 hour time frame we are looking at, then I encourage you to watch my previous videos where I did a top-down analysis on all of the assets on our watch list for this week. And if you had not watched them, I would encourage you to look right in the description box of this current video. I have the links to those videos right there, so you can check them out after the live session. It not only gives you a background knowledge of how we got to this point, but it can also serve as an educational tool in helping you understand how to use price action to project where price is likely going. So with that being said here, the week started with a consolidation phase for us. Remember, we saw price initially caught within a range that is between the $81 level and the $80.65 level to give us an insight into the level of uncertainty going on at the beginning of the week. And of course, you know how we do it. Whenever we have this kind of range, we want to exercise patience and wait for either a breakout of the range to happen to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the range to give us an opportunity to sell. However, during the first 10 hours of the week, it was more of buyers trying to push price to break out of the resistance line. And we did had a breakout of the resistance line here at the $81 level, which I told you that we had a triggered position prior to our live session. And for those who missed out on that opportunity, we were looking at price action coming back to retest the structure. So with the buy limit around that area, we took advantage of the second one, and price did move about 100 pips before the bearish momentum began. Well, the bearish momentum did not come as a surprise, you know, as we were looking at price around that descending trend line, as you will see here, which we identified on the higher time frame. So we had a descending trend line negating all attempt by the buyers to break through that area. In fact, it led to a huge consolidation phase, which lasted about 10 to 12 hours before sellers came in to take out all our buy positions. Then we saw price continue to the downside, and in fact, as soon as price broke down the support line of that range, we got ready to sell the USOILSPOT. And since that moment, we have been selling the USOILSPOT. Remember, we also had multiple levels identified here. So we had levels such as our key level situated at the $80 area. We sold below that structure. We also added more positions at the breakdown of the $78.80 level. Then we also went on to add more positions during the New York session yesterday. During the early hours of yesterday, around the $78.15 area, as we rode the momentum all the way to the downside. So presently, we have a whooping 800 pips minimum running right now with 4 positions in profit at this point in time. Now, for those of you who are taking advantage of this opportunity, Well done, and kudos to you for being on standby to capitalize on this move. Now, with that being said here, you know how we do it. The next thing we want to be doing right now is to ensure that we move all stop losses and secure this current sell position. And if you look at the way things are going right now, we have a structure around here, maybe around the $77.50, and the $77.85 area seems most appropriate to put our stop loss at this point. And remember, while you are trying to place your stop loss, you do want to be given enough breathing space for price action to move around, just in case we have a downtrend continuation happen here. Now, with a well-secured position at this juncture, what is going to be our plans? What are we intending to do for today's London and New York session? Are we going to continue selling, or are there chances that we can see a rebound prior to the first German speech coming up later today? Now, if you look at this current structure, well, for those of you who are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, you must have gotten an update as to how we are going to be managing our positions for today. And in fact, one of the things I said here during the in my commentary is how the first chair speech is also one thing that everyone in the oil market will be looking forward to, as we want to have an insight if truly the interest rate, there'll be no further interest rate hike from the Feds, maybe for this year or next year, or are we going to be adding one more rate hike again to curtail the current inflation rate? Just like Uwe Peel said about 2 days ago, that the Fed might still reconsider increasing rate again one more time before the end of the year. So we really want to have a better clue into what is going to be happening. So everyone will be looking forward to what the Fed chairman will say. Now, one thing that you will notice here this morning while trying to dissect the current market structure is the fact that we begin to notice some buy pressure resume around that $76.80 level since throughout the Asian session today, giving us signs that buyers are trying to build up some momentum. Maybe participants are seeing the oil as very cheap at this point to join, or it might likely be a retracement of the bearish impulse leg that happened since the beginning of the week. So the first thing I did here was to mark out the support level at the $76.80 area, which is the lowest point price action has been for this week. And one thing you will notice here is how price action is gradually transitioning into what looks like a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure. As you will see, price was unable to break the previous low, giving us signs that buyers may likely be building up some momentum behind the scenes. And of course, whenever we notice a potential reversal pattern like this, the next thing we want to be doing is to mark out the neckline, which we will be using to validate the potency of this reversal pattern. Now, if you look at the structure here, you will see that we have a neckline situated around $77.35 stroke the $77.40 area. So I will just use the $77.40 area because of the psychological level of that price. So we want to be labeling this one right now. So we have the $77.40 level, right? So we have this right here, and then we want to be looking forward to the breakout and retest of that structure to capitalize on an uptrend scenario. Now, because of the strong bearish momentum that has gripped this market, it is very, very important that we wait for confirmations to join any bullish opportunity here. Now, for those of us who are profitable so far this week, we can afford to leverage on some of the profit we have made by placing a buy stop order above the $77.40 level to capitalize on that move and ensure you have a stop loss in place between 50 to 55 pips seems most appropriate. Just make it around the support line there or even below it, giving enough room for price action to breathe. So if price climbs up and break out of that structure, we want to be buying right away for those of us who are profitable so far this week. But for those of us who are joining for the first time, then I would encourage you to exercise patience and wait for a retest of structure before we jump into any buy positions here. Now, if we are going to be buying the US All Spot today, we have multiple levels here where we can actually use to capitalize on the uptrend move. But one thing here is that we want to consider the fact that buying the US All Spot at this juncture is more or less a counter trend opportunity on the lower time frame. Now, if we are going to be buying, we want to be very mindful of this level. So as soon as price gets into the structures, we want to ensure that we secure the current buy positions while we look out to see how market participant will be reacting to those levels. Now, if selling pressure resumes there, it could be the end of that counter trend opportunity to incite a downtrend move. So we have levels such as the $78.15 level, we have the $78.80 area, and of course we do have the key level for this week, which is situated at the $80 area. So these are levels where we will remain patient and watch how market participant reacts to them. So if price breaks out, retest the levels, then we want to be adding more buy positions. But if selling pressure persists, where we begin to see structures like double top structures, head and shoulder patterns, or any reversal pattern you can think of, then we do want to be joining a downtrend scenario. So that is how we are going to be capitalizing on this counter trend opportunity. And my warning here is for those of us who don't feel comfortable taking counter trend opportunities, I will just suggest that you stay clear of this one and let's wait for new setups that will project a downtrend scenario. Now, if price does not break out the $77.40 level, or even it breaks out and failed, turn out to be a false breakdown, the only opportunity for me to add sell positions here is for price to drop down below the $76.80 level, taking out all the buy positions around that area which captured this market during the Asian session. So a breakdown retest will be a very good opportunity to join or add more sell positions to our existing trade. So these are my views here on the US All Spot for today. So our center of focus right now is basically between the $77.40 and the $76.80 area, where depending on the breakout, depending on the direction of the breakout, will give us an insight into where we will be going for today's trading session. So you want to be marking out these levels on your chart, as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide your independent trading decisions for today. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So as usual, I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions, while you can also use that time to mark out these levels on your chart. All right. So in the absence of no questions, I do want to assume that we are all on the same page here. And if you still have questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. Trust me, I am here and willing to be of help in that regard. So with that being said, let's move on to the next asset on our watch list. So the next asset on our watch list for today is the GBPUSD, the cable market. And in fact, we've been doing very well since the beginning of the week. Initially, we had a buy position triggered, but finally we saw selling pressure come in. And in fact, we got our signal triggered to push price to the downside. And since that day, since Monday, we have been selling the GBPUSD. Well, at this point in time, it's very important to be cautious, as market participants appear to be hesitant to place aggressive bets, especially as we get prepared for the scheduled speeches by the Bank of England governor and the Federal Reserve chairman, which is coming up much more later in the day. And given the high risk of a potential recession in the United Kingdom economy, everyone wants to see what the Bank of England's Governor Andrew Bailey will be saying today to give us an impetus into what we are going to be doing going forward. But as it is right now, the immediate market reaction as regards to the potential recession of the United Kingdom next year is very, very negative, as everyone is dropping their pound sterling to buy the US dollar instead. Now, let's look at what things are looking like from a technical standpoint and how we took our decision since the beginning of this week. Now, at the beginning of the week, it was more of a consolidation phase. Remember, we saw how price was initially consolidating between the 1.239 and the 1.23650 area, giving us an insight into the level of indecision at that point. And based on the fact that we witnessed a very strong impulsive move during last week, Thursday stroke Friday, we were of the opinion that this consolidation phase we saw here will turn out to be an uptrend continuation pattern. So we are very confident that price will continue to the upside. And with a buy stop order above the resistance line at the 1.239, we actually capitalized on a buy opportunity. Price really moved very well, I think about 40 pips thereabouts before the bearish momentum came in. And one of the things we said on Monday is that price may likely come back to retest the structure and incite an uptrend move. And to help us guide this decision, we had this ascending trend line figured out here. As you will see, we mark this ascending trend line, and of course you know how we use our ascending trend line in this community. As long as price remains above the ascending trend line, we shall feel comfortable in the buy position, and of course look out for structures and patterns that supports the idea of buying that asset. But unfortunately for the buyers here, we saw price break down the 1.239 and the ascending trend line, and then we saw an engulfing bearish candle. And remember, I made mention here on Monday that below the 1.23650 will be a beautiful area for us to join a bearish move. But I did got some messages where some of us, they took advantage of selling opportunities at the 1.239, so you were able to milk more profit from this position, as we all joined right below the 1.23650. Then we also had multiple levels here. We had another one here at the 1.23 area where we said we will be adding more sell positions. And of course, we added another one during the New York session yesterday. For those of you who are on my TradingView and Telegram platform, we added another new level at the 1.22750 area to join that downtrend continuation. I think this was typographical error here, so it is 1.22750. So let me correct this one. All right, so currently we have about 3 sell positions with over 100 pips in profit right now. And for those of us who took advantage of this opportunity, well done, and kudos to you for being on standby to capitalize on this move. So at this juncture, you know how we do it. The next thing we want to be doing is to secure this current position. Sincerely, it is very necessary we do this, as we could see some volatility happen today as we look forward to the Fed chairman's speech and the Bank of England's governor's speech today. And in fact, it is quite evident in the market right now, as you will see that in the last 24 hours, the market has been consolidating, further emphasizing the level of indecision in this market, as price action currently is confined within the 1.23, which happens to be our key level for the week, and the 1.22750 area. Now, with a well-secured position, to secure this position, I will suggest that anywhere around the 1.2300 area, which happens to be our key level for this week, seems very, very appropriate to secure this position. And while we are securing our position, please remember that we want to be given enough breathing space for price action to breathe. So with a well-secured position at this juncture, what is going to be our next line of action for today? How do we intend to plan ahead of this event that we are all looking forward to? Well, for us to have a better perspective here, I would have no other choice than to give us a glimpse into what things are looking like on the 4 hours time frame, as you will get to understand this current market structure a little bit more better. Now, scaling up into the 4 hours time frame, and in fact, for those of you who watch my videos during the course of the weekend, you will be familiar with the structure. So on the 4 hours time frame, what I did here was to take into consideration the nature of price action in the last 2 to 3 weeks. And one of the prominent structure here on this chart is that supply zone around the 1.23300 level and our key level at the 1.2300 area. You will see here that throughout the second half of last month of October, it was more of a selling niche as buyers found it difficult to break through this area. And every attempt by the buyers to break through has always been met with strong resistance from the sellers, as you will see here. And you will see what happened here during the last week of the month of October. And not until the beginning of this month that we finally saw price break out of that supply zone to give us an insight into a potential uptrend situation. And in fact, the selling pressure we have been witnessing since the beginning of the week may be considered to be some profit-taking activities, which could be a retracement into the structure that was broken out of to incite an uptrend continuation. Now, another thing I laid emphasis on here in my video is this ascending trend line here. As you will see, this trend line too was broken to the upside on Friday, right? Okay, on Friday, yes. And from a technical standpoint, whenever price breaks out of a structure, we expect it to come back into the structure to incite an uptrend continuation. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Now, if you look at the way price action had been playing out in the last 24 hours, you will see that we've been noticing this indecisive phase around that ascending trend line, which interestingly shares a confluence with that key level at the 1.2300 area. Now we are at a very crucial juncture in this market, very necessary for us to secure our current sell position, as anything could happen from here. Sellers could take over the market, and in fact we could see buyers take over this market to push price and begin the second wave of the bullish momentum that started last week Friday. Now, how do we intend to do this? Now we are going to be remain very patient around this juncture, as you can see, and in fact I would like to see price climb back above my key level for this week at the 1.23, and immediately price climbs back above the key level, we are back within above the trend situation here. Now, so the barrier for me to guide any bullish opportunity in this particular market is the breakout of the 1.2300 area. So the only condition to buy here is the 1.23. So let's mark that level out. If price breaks out, reaches the 1.23, we want to be joining an uptrend move. Now, if price will break down the support line of this range, remember we still have a sell position running right now, and we have moved our stop losses accordingly. If price action goes on to break down the support line of this range, we are going to be looking out for selling opportunities, add more sell position of course, and if price drops into the 1.22200 level, which happens to be another very important level here, we exercise patience, secure our current sell position, and wait to see how the market participant will react to this price level. If buy pressure resumes here, we look out for buying opportunities at the appearance of reversal patterns, and if price breaks down, then we look out for more selling opportunities to the downside. But trust me, I will be with you in the comment section to give you updates on how we are going to be capitalizing on any of these opportunities. So this is my view here on the GBPUSD for today. So let's see how the market will play out around this structure. So it's very, very important that we remain very, very patient around this area and allow structures to mature before we jump into any position. So these are my views here, but trust me, if there is any significant move in price action or setup unfold, I will let you know in the comment section of both my trading view and Telegram platform. So if you have any questions whatsoever as regards to the current setup, or you need me to do some further clarifications on the explanations I have made so far, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So as usual, I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions before we move on to the next asset on our watch list. And you can use that time also to mark out these levels on your chart, as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide your independent trading decisions for today. So I see your comment here, GBFX Prince. Good morning to you. Glad to have you around with us this morning. So you said here that you are still on this trade. Well, we are all still on this trade. It's still looking very bearish here. And in fact, when we looked at the 1 hour time frame, we saw although I don't know why my chart is taking a lot of okay. So as we look at the 1 hour time frame, we have a very important level we did identify here. So if you are with me on my Trading View and Telegram platform, we identified this here during the New York session yesterday that we will be looking out for this breakdown to add more sell position. So as long as price still remains below this 1.22750, we still hold on to a bearish bias. And one more parameter here which I didn't mention during my illustration is this descending trend line that has been supporting this bearish momentum since the beginning of this week. And as long as price still remains below this descending trend line, we hold on to this bearish bias. And if at any point in time price breaks out of this descending trend line, then we know that the possibilities of a momentum shift is very, very likely. But I still remain very comfortable in buying only if price breaks out of that key level at the 1.2300 area, as it would have taken out all the sell positions within this area. So let's see how the market will play out today, and let's see how the market will of course react to whatever the Bank of England's governor will be saying in about 40 minutes from now. So in the absence of no questions, I do want to assume that we are all on the same page, and in that regard we will be moving on to the next asset on our watch list for today. So the next asset on our watch list for today is my favorite, and that is the XAUUSD, which is popularly known as the gold spot. And in fact, I'm already out of my sell position here, as we saw buy pressure resume during the New York session yesterday, gradually climbed up and even broke out of that descending trend line to incite a potential reversal pattern at this point in time. I'm not saying it's a reversal pattern yet, but the structure is looking as if it's going to transition into one. So we need to be very, very careful at this point in time. So we were able to make over 250 pips on the XAUUSD so far this week, and right now the price of gold is currently consolidating the losses it's incurred since the beginning of the week, and the US dollar seeks a clear direction amidst conflicting Federal Reserve commentaries, a cautious risk tone, and a recent drop in the US Treasury bond yields. So these are three factors that are likely going to be affecting this asset today: a cautious risk tone, recent drop in the US Treasury yield bond, and of course conflicting comments from the Federal Reserve representative. Remember, we had a handful of Fed's representative speeches in the last couple of days now. One is saying that there is likely going to be a revisit into the decision of rate cuts by June 2024, and one is saying that there is likely going to be another additional rate hike before the end of the year. So we are not really sure of what is going on in this market right now. As you can see, there has been a consolidation here in the last 12 to 18 hours, which further emphasized the level of indecision here. So everyone, of course, is looking forward to the first chairman's speech scheduled for later today, and whatever it says here will definitely influence price and determine the near-term trajectory of this asset. Now, let's take a quick look at the fundamental aspect of this market and what really led to the decisions we made at the beginning of the week. This will allow those who missed out on our earlier editions to be on the same page with us. So at the beginning of the week, though the price started on a bearish note, and in fact we saw price consolidate within the 1,993 and the $1,987.50 level to emphasize the indecision at the beginning of this week. And of course, you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of range. We exercise patience and wait for either the breakout of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And one interesting thing about this structure here is I can't even believe I did this, because if you are with me on Monday morning, I made mention of how the appearance of buy pressure resumed around the $1,982 area, and I was saying that I will want to be buying only if price breaks out of the $1,987.57 level, coming back into the ascending trend line. Then at the retest of the structure is when I will be looking out for buying opportunity. But I was so convinced with the continued buy pressure around the 1,982, coupled with the geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. As you know, whenever we have this kind of escalation, the gold usually gain a lot of traction as majority wants to move their capital into safe haven assets such as the gold. So what I did here was just placing a buy stop order above the $1,987.50 level. And for those of us who are with me on the XAUUSD live window session for Monday, we took this, but unfortunately for us, we were taken out of that position with about 50 pips loss on that one. But the good thing about this whole thing is that we positioned ourselves below the 1,982, as I made mention during our live session on Monday, that we will only be selling at the breakdown retest of the 1,982. So we had the privilege of joining that bearish move to the downside, and along the process we were able to recoup the loss we incurred at the beginning of the week. So we rode this move all the way to the downside. So we had the first sell position at the $1,982 level. We also added one more, had the breakdown of the 1,971. That was yesterday's New York session. And we also talked about adding one more, had the $1,964.25 level. Now price moved about, in total we had close to 300 pips on these three positions before the buy pressure began and took us out of this position with a considerable amount of profit. And for those of us who took advantage of this opportunity, well done and kudos to you for being on standby to capitalize on this move. So currently we are not in any position right now as we continue to monitor price action ahead of the Fed chairman's speech coming up later today. Now, how do we intend to position ourselves for the next move? For those of you who are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, you will be familiar with how we are going to be managing this position. So what I said here during the I just lost power right now, so give me a moment, let's sort things out, and I will be with you in a moment shortly. Thank you very much. All right, sorry about the break in transmission. We had to switch our inverter here, and I'm glad. I hope this will last a couple of minutes before it goes. So let me run through what I'm saying here. So with the way things are going right now, the market is within a consolidation phase right now, and very, very importantly to be mentioned here is the fact that we already have price action breaking out of that our descending trend line, which has been supporting this bearish momentum since the beginning of this week. Now, of course, you know how we do it whenever price breaks out of our descending trend line. We definitely want to be looking out for buying opportunity, but we are not going to be quick to join a bullish momentum here, as we will need to see some further confirmations in that regard. So what I did here this morning was to look at the current market structure, and in fact you will see that since the later part of the New York session yesterday, price has been trapped within a range between the $1,964.50 level and the 1,970 area, to emphasize the level of indecision here. Now, despite the breakout of that descending trend line, we can see that sellers have continued to negate every attempt by the buyers to break out of the structure around the 1,970 area. Now, for me to consider buying today, I want to see price break out of this resistance line, retest the structure to join an uptrend move. Now, there are two ways to which we can capitalize on this one. So if you have been profitable so far this week, you can place a buy stop order above that area and have your stop losses in place just right below structure with about 50 pips stop loss, and let's see how this is going to play out. However, if you are new with us today and this is your first time taking advantage of an opportunity, well, you want to be exercising patience and wait for a breakout retest of structure to give us an opportunity to join an uptrend continuation. So that is the only condition here that will make us consider buying the XAUUSD today. However, in as much as we're looking out for buying opportunities here, we want to consider selling opportunities too as well. Of course, price has been very bearish since the beginning of the week, so we cannot take out the potentials that sellers could still come in this market. So if we are going to consider selling here, I would rather want to see price drop back within the descending trend line, and this is exactly around the $1,964.25 area. Breakdown, retest of structure, then we can join the downtrend scenario all the way, breaking down the 1,957 level, which happens to be the lowest point for this week, to add more sell positions to our existing trade. So this is how we are going to be managing our trade on the XAUUSD for today. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So as usual, I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds off to see if there are any questions, while you can also use that time to mark out these levels on your chart, as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide your independent trading decisions. I never knew I put the mic on mute. So I said I saw your comment, GBFX Prince. You're asking if I have an office in Abuna. I'm not sure I understand what you mean, but I want to think you're asking Abuja instead, right? If it's Abuja, then I don't have an office there yet at the moment. So if you have found this content helpful and useful in making your independent trading decisions for today's trading session, I would greatly appreciate your support by giving the video a thumbs up. Your likes are very valuable to me, and in fact, it also helps the algorithm promote the video to a wider audience of traders who may find this content beneficial to them too. Thank you very much for doing so. For those who had liked the video, thank you very much. I really do appreciate. And for those of you who are yet to like, please do. It doesn't cost anything, and this is the only way you can help me and support this channel. Thank you very much if you do so. And for those of you who joined us for the first time, I do hope you gained some things, a couple of things today. And in fact, I do encourage you to be part of our subsequent editions, as the more time you spend with us in this community, the better you get to understand our analytical approach and eventually use that information you gather here to make your trading decisions and improve your own trading strategies and analysis. So thank you very much, guys. It has been a wonderful day with you guys. I really appreciate every single moment I had with you guys. In fact, we were able to attend to 4 major assets today. 3 major assets today: the GBPUSD, XAUUSD, and of course the USOILSPOT, where we were able to identify simple trading setups that we can use to guide our trading decisions for today's London and New York session. I look forward to seeing more of you same time tomorrow, 9:05 a.m. West African time, 8:05 a.m. UTC, depending on where you're tuning in from. And I look forward to seeing you right in the comment section of both my TradingView, Telegram platform, and of course during the XAUUSD live window, which is coming up much more later during the New York session. Do have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye-bye.